Hi there. So today I am going to show you how to make a 5x5 shadow box without using any foam squares or dots or any spacer strips or straws. But what we will use instead, we're going to create 5 different frame layers, and they're all different sizes. So in Cricut Design Space, I have shared with you the template. So this is the template that you will be getting right over here. There's 2 options to make the plastic cover. One of them goes on to the very top, and another one goes kind of right behind the top layer. Right here is the option for the bottom of the frame. If you want to make a cardboard or a cardstock frame, you can use that one in place of the actual wood frame. This one is just to tell you the size of your SVG. So what we have here are 5 different sizes of frame that you will need. So in today's project, I will show you how to do this Ocean Sunset Shadowbox SVG from my 3D SVG. So the first thing I do is I reduce the size of this Shadowbox to 4.25 by 4.25, and then you want to ungroup it and kind of lay out all the layers so you can see all your layers. Now, because there's only 5 frames, you kind of have to decide which layers you want to incorporate into the frame. So the biggest frame size will be the very top, and then followed by the next one. So the smallest one is at the very bottom. Now, this is the hardest part, is to kind of visual how you want your spacing to look like. So let me just give you an example before we proceed, because I just want to show you the difference in height. That way you can determine how many layers going to go into each frame. So the very top layer, which is the cover, it's pretty wide, as you can see here. Okay, so that's the width of the top layer. And then the second one is right here, and it's a little bit smaller in width right here on the side. And then it gets smaller and smaller as you go down to the very last one. And this is the very last one right here. Look how tiny that is. So with that being said, this very last layer, you don't want too many on this last layer, okay? So what I like to do, it's hard to know how I want it spaced out, but the trick is, do not weld anything that has too much intricate cut into the frame. So for this top layer, I try to keep probably a maximum of 1 or 2 layers. So I will use this one here. In this case, we don't need a second one here, but then you have, so I think there's 13 layers here. So each one, so you know that this very last layer, you can have a maximum of 2. Now this very solid one, don't worry about that. That one just gonna go directly onto the frame itself, so we don't have to worry about that one incorporate into the frame here. So with that one, so what I did, I used this very last one. I will weld this one into the last one. And then that one, it's going to go right on top of it. So that's pretty much a total of 2 layers to that last frame. And then the second one, I went ahead and used this layer, weld that one into the frame. And then these 2 layers are going to go right on top of it. And then my third layer, went ahead and used layer 7 here. I'm going to weld that one in there. And then these 2 layers are going to go Actually, this one is going to go right behind this one. So that means this second frame is going to have a total of the 4 layers. And then this one's going to welt into here. And with this one's going to go right onto the top of that. Then we're going to have 2 more layers right here. So I'm going to decide to welt that one in, and then this one's going to go to the back. Okay, so with that being said here, so let me go ahead and remove all of these, and I'm just going to show you how to weld the layer into the frame. We're going to take that one here. So I'm going to just remove all of this one here aside first, so I can show you how to weld that one into the frame, because that will determine the spacing, and I will show you how to assemble it once we weld it so you can actually see it much better. Now each of the frame has a score line on here, so it is attached right now. So what you need to do is to detach it. Let me back up just a little bit here. So before we do any of this, I want you to duplicate this whole thing and then just kind of put it aside. That way, if there's any mistakes, you have a copy of it to go back to, okay? So now, before we weld them, each of the layer has score line on it. So you want to detach that score line before you weld. So once you detach it, go ahead and kind of move it aside. There's that score line right here. So to move that one aside and take the layer that you're going to weld into the frame, overlap it, but move it to the back. So arrange that to the back, because when you weld it, you want it to change to the color of your design or the layer, okay? So once you have that layer behind the frame, go ahead and select them both and go to Align, Center, and go to Combine and Weld. So you just weld that first layer. So once you're done welding it, go ahead and attach the score line back. So where's my score line? Right here. So it's behind the design. Make sure you bring that score line to the top so you can actually see. Okay, there it is. So once you have the score line on top of the frame, go ahead and select them both and align, center. Now attach that score line to that frame. So we just finished our first frame. So here is our second frame. Again, there's a score line. Make sure you detach it, move it aside, and move the design layer to the frame. Make sure you arrange it to the back and then select them both. Go to Align, Center, go to Combine, and Weld. And again, bring your score line back to the frame. Make sure to arrange it to the front, and then select them both. Go to Align, Center, Attach. Okay, and so now we have the third one. So again, it's just 5 frames, but you got to repeat that whole process. So detach, move aside, bring the design over, arrange that to the back, select them both, align, center, combine, weld. Bring the score line back, make sure place it in the front, select them both, align, center, attached. Okay, 2 more. So this is our third frame. Detach the score line, move that aside, move the layer to the frame, arrange that to the back, select them both, align, center, combine, weld. the score line back up. Make sure to arrange it to the top or the front. Select them both, align, center, attach. Here's our last one. Then I'm going to show you how to assemble it here. So remove that score line, back, bring that one over, arrange it to the back, select them both, align, center, combine, weld, and here's the score line. Bring it to the top, bring it to the front, select them both, align, center, attach. Okay, so that's how I do it, but you can choose any layer you want to attach to the frame, because everything else you're just going to cut the way it is, 4.25 in size. And once you cut it, then you start to assemble it, you will actually see how it looks like. Okay, so we are now concluding the video portion of welding. So let me show you how to put it together, okay? So this is what I have here. So this is the top layer that I did, and I decided to cut the acetate, the square acetate that goes behind the top layer. And pretty much with acetate, it's hard to glue them to the cardstock. So I have a double-sided tape. It looks like this right here. Very small. They're double-sided. I think I got this from scrapbooking.com. I forgot, but this is the tape that I use. Just a small strip there. Kind of go in the corner of the box there and just kind of put the plastic cover right underneath it. Okay, so it's right underneath the top layer. And since you guys are curious to know the plastic that I use, it is what they call cake collar. I've had this for a while, so I'm not sure what size it is, but it comes in a big roll. And I just kind of cut to the size of one. You can actually cut this on using your Cricut machine acetate setting, and it cut very well. So this is the plastic that I use. It's a cake collar, but you can use any plastic you want, really. I think it will work just fine. So what I have here, so this is layer 1, and then remember this was the layer 4 that I weld, and then there's layer 7 that I also weld here. And what else I have here? This is layer 9. And then my last layer, whoop, I guess I should move my camera. This is my layer 11 here. Oh, let me expand this a little bit. So layer 1, layer 4, layer 7. I think I might have something out of order here, maybe. And layer 11. So what I did here, so all the numbers are here. You pretty much put it together just like you would normally with a shadow box. So here's the layer 2 and 3. I pretty much just glue them together. That's layer 2 and 3. It's going to go right on top of layer 4. And then I glue layer 5 and 6. And that's going to go right on top of layer 7. And then there's layer 8. Now layer 8, and there's layer 9. So you have a choice of glue the layer 8 onto layer 9 if you want, or you can actually glue the layer 8 behind layer 7. It's totally up to you how you want to do it. There's no right or wrong way. So I will go ahead and put layer 8 over layer 9. So this is the arrangement right here. And then I have layer 11 frame right here, which goes to, here's the layer 10. That's going to go right behind layer 11. Okay. No, actually, I take that back. It's layer 10 that's go on top of layer 11. Now, once you have that all in order, you can test it out just to see how it looks like. You don't have to glue the layer to the frame yet. You can just go ahead and kind of place it right on top and kind of stack it on top of each other just to see how it looks like. So I have that one there, I have this one here, kind of stack them on top. Then my last one right here, stack them in. And then this is the very top one here. Turn that around and kind of turn this upside down and place it all in there just to see how it looks like. Oh, there it is. Okay. Let's see here. Did I do that right? Yes, I did. Yep, so that's how it looks like. And then remember the last layer I said don't worry about where it goes. So here's my last layer. Decide to use a holographic foil here. I just kind of cut the piece out and use a double tape and tape that onto the board itself. So you can use anything, but it doesn't have to be directly on attached to the frame itself. So once you have that kind of all stacked together, make sure you stack them together before you put into the frame, so then that way it will fit easier. So once you do that, kind of fit them right into the frame here. And I have tested most of my frame. This size seems to fit very well in this 5x5 frame. Looks just like that. So you can just push it down and it kind of snug. It fit very well. Okay. So once you have it test out and see if you like it, then you can, if you want to, you can go ahead and glue all the pieces to the individual frame if you want to. And then the final step is possibly to put the glue on the outside of this frame here, because once you glue it on, it's gonna stick and you cannot bring it back out. So make sure you are ready to do that. So once you're ready, just kind of put glue right on the edges here and then push it back in, and that will actually keep it in place. There's no going back once it's glued in. Okay, so if you're not ready to glue it yet, you can push it in and just kind of tap it out and pull it out and adjust anything you want. So that is how you do this shadow box without using any foam or spacing strips. All right, I hope this will help, and I'm so excited to see how many of you can do this. Send me a message if there's any questions. I'm excited to share this project with you. Thanks for watching. Bye.